Chapter 29, Food, Water, and Supplies. Your basic, everyday snack run in the Backrooms. I crouched down in front of the desk's set of 3 drawers as I opened the top drawer and peered inside. Who keeps a bunch of broken pencils in their office drawer? I muttered as I slammed the door shut, already frustrated with my supply search. I exhaled softly, letting out some steam before opening the second drawer. My eyes fell upon a single Band-Aid and 2 batteries. Wow, these drawers suck, I said angrily as I took the Band-Aid and batteries from the drawer and set them on the floor next to me. 3rd time's the charm, right? I said to myself as I pulled open the 3rd drawer. A massive stack of papers with pale black text scribbled all over them caught my eye as I lifted the top paper off of the pile. Data entry no 394. Some sort of corruption has happened to the hounds on this level. I do not know if it has spread. The hound seems to have mutated due to some sort of undiscovered fungi that grows here. More update logs will be posted as I go. Level 4.3 will be fully explored, although it is less likely safe than it was. My mind raced as my heart rate sped up, sending a subtle pain through my neck as I placed the paper back in the drawer and slammed it shut. Shit, if these entities really are mutating, I really don't stand a chance. I stood up, staring at the drawer for a moment before turning to face the hallway that the millions of cubicles branched off of. Maybe I'll find more information as I search, but for now, I need some sort of supply bag to carry everything I find and more info on how to get the hell out of this place, I said as I laid out my thoughts in an organized plan. I have to be smarter, I said sternly as I tenderly touched the claw marks on my right arm, my eyes falling on my shredded sneakers as I sighed hopelessly. I also need new shoes, I muttered as I exited the cubicle, entering the gray-carpeted modernistic office hallway as I scanned over the tops of each cubicle hall. My eyes fell on something in the distance as my breath caught in my throat. Is that a backpack? I cried as I kicked off the ground and began running, sprinting as fast as I could for what looked like a navy blue supply bag that closely resembled a camping backpack with its size and amount of pockets. Holy shit, after this stupid, wretched red guy stole my bag in the waterlogged station, I had nowhere to store all my supplies I found. I hated leaving so much stuff behind. I quickly entered the cubicle and pulled the backpack's right strap off of the puffy office chair that it was slung over, slinging it over my shoulder with a bright smile on my face. But now I don't have to worry about storage for a while, I said proudly as I slung the backpack off and placed it on the floor. I glanced over at the desk that lay only a few feet away from me as I sighed. I need supplies. I guess I have to search every cubicle that I enter, I said emotionlessly as I glared at the set of drawers before walking over to the desk and scanning its surface for useful materials. Do I even need bandage? I cried as I spotted a small 5-stack of sterilized and unopened Band-Aids, the small yet useful material coaxing me to take them with me as I ventured through the living hell of the Backrooms. I don't even think I'll use all these, but I mean anything counts, I said happily as I grabbed the bandages off of the desk and slid them into my pocket. I scanned the rest of the desk, only finding wrinkled paper and dull pencils and English pens before deciding to check the drawers. Let's see. What will we get today? I said in my best game show host voice, opening the first drawer to find an entire first aid kit tucked far into the corners of the drawer. Holy shit, we have a winner! I cried as I grabbed the plastic white handle of the medical container and pulled it out of its resting place as I turned it over in my hands. The bright white plastic medical kit filled me with such a happy and hopeful feeling as my eyes darted proudly between the handle, clips, size of the container, and the large red plus sign on the front. I admired the useful resource for a moment, gratefully accepting the gift as I slid it into the second largest pocket of my backpack. There we go. Safe keeping, I said happily as I zipped the bag shut, safely shutting away the first aid kit as I returned to see what else was in the other 2 drawers. I shoved the chair aside, making it roll over to the far wall before it hit the cubicle's drywall and came to a stop with a rickety squeak. I smiled softly to myself as I opened the second drawer. Nothing, I said with a goofy upsetness as I slowly closed the second drawer. 3rd time's the charm again? I said hesitantly as I opened the second drawer. The third drawer, too. A stack of wrinkled papers and multiple pencils is all I found as I shut the final drawer and got to my feet. Nothing, but I did get medical supplies, meaning I can tend to these injuries once I eat something and get some more supplies. After I tend to my wounds, I might rest, so I might want to be as prepared as possible for when I wake up if I awake to anything wrong, I told myself as I made sure the bag's pockets are safely secured before lifting it up and slinging it over my shoulder. Sorry for slurring, by the way. It's 10 o'clock at night. I got 4 more videos to record. Just finished an hour-long vid. It's a night, bro. I'm going to finish this entire arc, though. We got it in the bag. 2 energy drinks down. The bag hit my back with a subtle thump as I calmly walked out of the cubicle, scanning the hallway for threats as I walked a few feet to the one after the one I was just in. Cubicle number 2, I said as I spoke my unneeded thoughts out to myself, purely stating the obvious because I was in a good mood. I smiled softly as I slung my backpack down and dropped it on the floor as I walked over to the desk. Let's see, anything good? I said quietly to myself as I scanned the desk with precision, searching for bandage, food, or water as I gathered supplies in an unnatural silence. Paper, more paper, pencils, really? Nothing but a computer and a bunch of paper and pencils? I cried exasperatedly, wanting to kick the chair as hard as I could while holding back at the same time, trying to manage my lack of self-control and easy frustration that stemmed from this place. The drawers could have stuff in them anyways, I said as I reassured myself that this cubicle could still not be a total waste of my time. I crouched down next to the modern office chair and pulled open the top drawer. Gauze? I said curiously as I picked up the roll of white medical wrap and put it on the floor next to me. Anything else in here? I said softly as I searched the rest of the drawer, pushing aside a few pieces of paper as I made sure that nothing useful was left unfound. Alright. I guess sterilized medical bandages are a useful thing to have, but I really need some food, I said as my stomach grumbled loudly. I sighed, struggling to stay positive as I tried to ignore my starvation, dehydration, and sleep deprivation. Sorry. Jesus. You could be an author, write 203,000 words, and you can't say deprivation, whatever the fuck the word is. Second one, please have something good, I said nervously as I pulled open the second drawer. A slightly dented black metal flashlight bumped against the front panel of the drawer as it rolled around from the sudden movement. A glimmer of hope and excitement rose on my chest as I took the flashlight from the drawer and flicked on the power switch. It flickered multiple times before shooting a dim beam of light onto the cubicle wall. I sighed with relief as I turned it back on, preserving the battery as much as I could as I placed it down on the ground next to the gauze. Well, this has probably been the best loot yet, but I still have one more drawer, I said to no one but myself as I glanced over at my supply bag before reaching for the drawer and pulling it open. A smashed bag of chips instantly lured me in as I gasped in shock. Chips? I cried, grabbing the bag from the drawer as I tried to read the label. It's a pink bag, and it just has a white stripe going around it from the center of the bag, but it's food, right? I said curiously as I observed the mysterious bag I had found sitting alone in the third drawer. Sorry, I lost my place. I took a deep breath before tossing the chips over to the backpack, letting them bounce off and hit the ground as I picked up my new resources. Gauze, flashlight, and a bag of mystery chips. I guess that is going better than I thought it was. I guess this is going better than I thought it would. My bad, didn't mean to go fucking weird tense there. I mumbled as I walked over to my bag and unzipped the second pocket, adding the gauze to the area with the med kit as I zipped the bag up immediately, not wanting to risk losing anything after an unplanned entity attack. I slid the flashlight into the side pocket where water bottles are usually held as I picked up the chips off the ground and slung my backpack out of my back. Ow. Energy drink's fighting back, dude. Securing the straps as I exited the second cubicle. Are these even safe to eat? I muttered as I held the pink bag in front of me as I walked, still searching for some sort of label as I walked past multiple unsearched cubicles. Came to a stop as my stomach gurgled loudly. You know what? Fuck it. If I die at this point, I die. Everything hurts anyways, I said hopelessly as I tore open the bag and looked inside. The bag was filled halfway with thin, stale-looking potato chips and smelled strongly of vinegar and starch. They look like normal chips to me, I said aloud as I reached into the bag, grabbing the first chip I touched as I brought it up to my face. The stale, curvy snack seemed to whisper to me as it begged for me to try it. Worth a shot, I said daringly as I put the entire chip in my mouth and chewed. The chip was stale and almost flavorless as it bent before breaking from the massive force of my teeth, making the stale potato-tasting snack last longer than it should have. Fuck, it's stale, I grumbled with a small mouthful of stale chips. I forced myself to swallow, fully finishing off the stale snack as I stared at the bag in disgust. Is there not any other food here? I know there's granola bars, but where the fuck are they? I'm so hungry, I groaned as my childlike complaints traveled to the echoey, lifeless sub-level. I crumpled up the bag of stale chips and shoved it into my backpack, not knowing if I'd find any other food as I kept my survival lessons in check. Don't waste food, I muttered as I secured the chips in my bag and turned to face the next cubicle. A bottle of almond water was visible on the desk, as well as what appeared to be another data log. Well, I guess I got some of the things I wanted, I said to myself as I entered the third cubicle and took the bottle of almond water instantly. It's the only one, but I'm so fucking thirsty, I said desperately as I stared at the faded, beige-colored wrap that protected the bottle as my mouth watered. I'll find more, I said hastily as I unscrewed the cap and immediately chugged the entire bottle, swallowing every last drop of the sweet, refreshing liquid as I relaxed almost instantly. Oh, fuck. I'll never get tired of this stuff, I said, satisfied at the pleasurable experience every bottle of almond water I drank provided me with. I really need more food, if anything. Same with more of this delicious almond water. Lots of almond water. It tastes so fucking good, I said as my tone went from serious to satisfied and pleasured by the good experiences of this single drink. My eyes darted over the desk as I realized I had almost forgotten to check the file log I had seen, spotting it as I pushed the chair aside and dropped my backpack at my feet as I picked up the paper and read it aloud. Research log number 27. The Backrooms never ceases to amaze us with its mysterious and supernatural fungi. Multiple species of Backrooms have been found deep within this level and have already been documented. The basic information about these special and unique mushrooms is classified and will not be shared with anyone outside of the Backrooms environment. And will not be shared with anybody outside of the Backrooms Environmental Organization, or the BEO. Even though this information is classified, it is advised to stay away from the two dangerous fungi that inhabit the depths of this level, although the white Backrooms and normal Backrooms are safe to consume. More research is to be added to the BEO Level 4.3 research project. I stood motionless for a while, confused at almost everything written on the file I had just read, as I fell back and plopped down in the office chair, rolling over to the far wall slowly as I held the paper in my hands. Sorry, just seeing how many pages to the left is fucking 5. Lucy's lost my fucking spot. The Backrooms Environmental Organization, I muttered as I trailed off, staring blankly at the page in front of me as I tried to understand all this new and surprising information. So there are more of those mushrooms, I said quietly as a rising curiosity quickly crept up inside of me. I have to find them, I said excitedly as I shoved the paper into my backpack and tucked it away safely so I wouldn't lose it. I began to leave the cubicle before the realization of what my current goal was hit me like a kick to the face. Food, water, and supplies come first, I said sternly as I turned around and walked over to the unchecked drawers of the current cubicle. You can find these mysterious other mushroom thingies later, I guess. For now, I need to stock up on supplies, I told myself as I opened the first drawer, grabbing multiple batteries and a piece of scrap metal before quickly searching the second drawer. Stay on task. Stay on task. Stay on task, I repeated in my mind as I took another roll of gauze from the final drawer. I exhaled frustratedly, wanting to explore rather than gather for survival as I quickly exited the cubicle and entered the next one. Cubicle number 4, I said with a sigh and a small hint of excitement as I quickly searched the desk, spotting a granola bar under a stack of papers. Yes, finally! I cried happily as I rushed over to the desk and shoved the chair to the side, almost knocking over a metal shelving rack as I hastily took the granola bar from its resting spot and held it in my hands. Immense happiness and pride filled my entire being as I tore open the wrapper and took a bite, moaning softly as I swallowed the sweet and filling treat before crouching down and opening the top drawer. I took another bite as I scanned for anything useful before shutting the drawer and opening the second one. A smile formed on my face as I chewed my most recent bite of the desirable snack before swallowing. Hell yeah, I said proudly as I grabbed another granola bar and turned it over in my hand as I smiled to myself. Now I have 2. Well, one. But still, if I get hungry, I can always have this instead of those stale-ass chips, I said happily as I took one last bite of the granola I was eating before I pulled open the last drawer. A small stack of wrinkled yellowing papers caught my eye as a gleam of curiosity shined in my pupils. "What's this?" I said curiously after swallowing, finishing off my snack as I picked up the stack of aged and deteriorating papers, leaving the wrapper of my granola bar in its place as I got to my feet. I blindly slid the extra granola bar into the side pocket of my backpack as I skimmed over the massive words on the stack of ancient-looking research. "What does this even say? I can't even read it," I said as I stared at the foreign chicken scratch that covered the entire page. "Is every page just these weird symbols?" I muttered as I flipped through the pile, scanning each page as I struggled to read the unidentifiable writing. I sighed, hopelessly as I set the wrinkled stack of ancient fucking damn. Well, it's 2 hours in. Guess I'm stammering now. I sighed hopelessly as I set the wrinkled ancient stack of research papers on the desk, leaving it out in the open as I looked around. "It's been really quiet lately," I said as feelings of paranoia began to drag me back into a fear-flooded mental state. Nope, you have a weapon, medical supplies, and food and water. You're fine," I told myself as I began to reach for my combat knife before stopping and looking around. "Anything that stands out in the open?" I muttered as my eyes raced over the infinite expanse of office space. My thoughts bounced around aimlessly as I glanced at the undecipherable papers on the desk in front of me before I snapped out of it. Damn. 4 pages left, bro. Damn, god damn. Let's make a list of tasks so I can focus better," I told myself as I searched the desk for a pen and paper. Uneasiness and paranoia lurked in the back of my mind as I gathered the 2 things I needed and sat down. "Okay, let's see. What's more important?" I said as I struggled to stay on task. "Food and water are definitely a priority," I said quietly as I gathered my thoughts and wrote down "food and water, top priority," on the page in dull black ink. I tapped the pen on my chin as I sorted my thoughts and priorities for options. Medical? Like gauze, bandage, maybe another first aid kit if I'm really lucky, I said to myself as I wrote down gauze, bandage, medical-related stuff, and first aid kit in messy handwriting on the empty page in front of me. I shuffled my feet as I searched my thoughts for more ideas before smiling as a fun task came forth. Batteries, fire, maybe matches or a handheld lighter or a spare flashlight, extra food and almond water, I trailed off as my hand grew tired and sore from all the sudden writing as I looked over the page and read it over. Medical-related, gauze, bandage, first aid kit. Seems about right. Food and water, just that because I don't really know how much other stuff there is here. I lost my train of thought as a brisk fog swirled around my ankles. "Again? Seriously? When is there ever fog in an office?" I said frustratedly, just wanting to relax and gather my thoughts and tend to my priorities as I looked around. Doesn't look like there's many entities, though, so I might just be fine to keep gathering supplies, I said as I tried to slow the racing current of thoughts that currently flooded my brain. I stood motionless for a second as I took a few slow breaths in before exiting the 4th cubicle. "Shit. The paper," I said as I glanced down at the list in my right hand. "I'll search 5 more cubicles and then see what else hides in this boring ass level," I said aloud to myself, the volume of my voice being similar to the one you use when you try to talk at the same time as other people with a wavering confidence as I slowly walked down the hallway separating the cubicles all around me. "I guess I'll start now," I said as I stopped at a cubicle with cracked and weakened walls. Anxiety rose in my mind and chest as a musty, suffocating smell slowly filled my nose. "I thought it was all organized," I said as I began breathing through my mouth, ignoring the changes in the level as I entered the first of 5 cubicles I had to search. My eyes skimmed the desk, only to find nothing as I walked over to the drawers. The smell of wet carpet and mold filled my nose as I crouched down in front of the storage bins built up into the desk. "Why does it smell so bad all of a sudden?" I thought to myself as I pulled open the first drawer. A crushed and dust-covered granola bar revealed itself as it sat atop a pile of worn and deteriorating papers. "It's crushed, but it's still food," I told myself as I grabbed the smashed snack and slung my backpack off my shoulder and set it on the ground. I opened the compartment I put my snacks in and dropped the beat-up granola bar inside. I think 3 more granola bars, some more almond water, and a bit more gauze and bandage should fulfill my needs for a while, I said as I ignored my main task and decided to search for the specific items I liked and wanted instead. Anything else? I said softly as I opened the second drawer. A single battery rolled forward as I stared at it, not knowing if I should take it or not before slamming the drawer shut. I already have, 5 of those, I said arrogantly as I opened the final drawer. I gasped softly as I grabbed the bandage and painkillers and instantly put them in my bag, saving them for later as I gathered my stuff and got to my feet. 1 cubicle down, I said with a small glimmer of glee as I exited the cubicle and entered the second one. What do we have in this one? I said to no one but myself as I dropped my supply bag in the middle of the cube-shaped workspace and quickly began searching the drawers. Nothing. Useless. Matches? I cried as I opened the final drawer, revealing a half-full max... Fuck. God, it's 10:30 at night. My parents are going to kill me if I wake someone up. Okay. I cried as I opened the final drawer, revealing a half-full matchbox with a built-in lighting strip. Wait, I have fire? I cried excitedly as I grabbed the matchbox and flicked the match over the striker, gleaming with a mischievous grin as I watched the fire lick the sky, the weak orange flame clinging to the tip of the match as it slowly burned out. How many are in here? I cried as I quickly counted each match as they lay tucked in safely within the matchbox. 7! I cried proudly as I quickly sealed the compartment the matches were in and unzipped a small, safe pocket in the middle of my backpack. I cannot lose these, I told myself sternly as I zipped the pocket shut. The faint smell of a recently lit fire drifted around me as I slung my bag over my shoulder and looked around, seeing if I had missed anything before I exited the second cubicle. Okay, we almost done, guys. We almost done. It's 34 minutes. No, 21 minutes, damn. This is going way better than I thought, I said happily as ideas on what the matches could be used for raced around in my cluttered mind. Only 3 more to go, then I can explore, I said confidently as I entered the third cubicle. I pushed the black leather chair away from the drawers and crouched down, opening the first drawer to reveal a small bottle of almond water. Oh my god, it only took 5 cubicles? I said exaggeratively as I grabbed the bottle of almond water and tucked it away in the other side pocket of my backpack. I closed the first drawer and opened the second one, revealing a pile of papers and a broken flashlight that made me sigh with deflated hope. Final drawer, I said as I opened the last drawer, revealing a roll of gauze, another granola bar, and a small silver pen. What's a full silver pen doing here? I said curiously as I took the pen out first, looking it over as the shiny gray surface distorted and reflected my face. I guess I'll take it, I said softly as I slid it in my pocket, collecting the other resources and putting them in their respective compartments in my bag as I exited the third cubicle. 2 more to go, I said aloud as I realized I had no idea what my current emotion was. I entered the fourth cubicle, spotting a bottle of almond water and another bag of chips on the desk as I walked over to the drawers. I crouched down, keeping the supplies above me in mind as I collected batteries, cloth, and bandage from the 3 drawers before closing each one and standing up. I guess I'm getting stuff that's better than nothing, and glanced over the chips and exhaled frustratedly. And anything is better than those stale-ass chips, I muttered as I grabbed the bottle of almond water and got everything into my bag. 1 more to go, I said as I reassured myself that the boring yet highly important task was almost done. I began walking to the final cubicle before coming to a stop, staring at the unnerving sight in the distance. It's starting to fall apart, I said nervously as my eyes darted over the expanse of crumbling and destroyed cubicles ahead of me. I'll deal with that later. For now, I have 1 more cubicle to search, I said sternly as I tried to keep my anxiety and paranoia at bay. Thought this was a semi-safe level, but after that stupid hound, I wouldn't be surprised, I thought to myself as I searched the 3 drawers, coming up with a single battery as I got to my feet. A battery? Seriously? It wasn't worth it, I said angrily as I clenched my fist, gripping the battery tightly before throwing it as far as I could into the decaying cubicles ahead of me. I'm done searching for supplies, I said frustratedly as the battery soared through the air before disappearing behind one of the cubicle walls. What the hell is going on over there anyways? I said softly as I realized the big problem at hand. I had gone too far into level 4.3 and had entered the decay zone.